Have you solved 200 plus lead code problems but are still unable to crack that next job? Do you have a CGPF score of 9 point something but are still not getting interview calls? Do you often start your DMs with something like, "Sir, I'm looking for a job"? Girls and boys, this is not how it is done. The rules of engagement to crack your first job have completely changed in 2025. In this video, I will give you a completely non-bullshit guide on how to crack your first internship, your first job, even your first remote job. Whether you're from a tier 1 college or a tier 3 college, whether you have a GPA of 9 point something or 7 point something, this video will give you a stepwise algorithm on how to crack a job off campus with low scores or on campus with high scores as well. Watch till the end, you'll get a lot of nuggets. So let's start with the elephant in the room, DSA. Now this is one of the most hotly debated topics out there, but let me begin by saying this. If you are a fresher or if you are in the 0 to 4 years experience category, there is no escaping DSA if you want to get into big tech. Agreed, there might be some small startups which don't care about DSA, which will ask you real programming questions, which might give you scenario based question, but the reality is all big tech, almost all of them start their interview processes with a DSA round. So there is no escaping DSA at this point. I like to think of DSA as rolling tires in a gym. In real life, you don't need to roll the tires, but it builds muscle memory when you have to do big things. Similarly, DSA builds and fastens your logic memory, and that is required when you're solving bigger problems. And DSA, quite frankly, is a very good way to very effectively and very quickly check your programming language. On a slightly spiritual level, to me, DSA is not just about who can solve that lead code problem the fastest. It is about staying calm and composed in the event of a crisis, applying your mind and still being able to solve that problem. That's how I look at DSA. A necessary devil, but you gotta solve it. Now let's talk about programming. And there's a lot of chatter recently, especially after the advent of AI and tools like Cursor or Replit or Lovable, things like that. The question that I get asked too often is, hey, do I really need to learn coding when AI is there? Or why should I learn coding? And my honest answer to that is, I'll give you a story. When my dad started teaching me how to drive a car, the first thing was not sit at the driving seat and make me understand, hey, this is the clutch, this is the pedal, this is the brake, this is the handbrake. None of that. In fact, first couple of days, he would ask me to do is open the hood of the car and understand where is the engine, where is the carburetor, how is the battery connected to the engine, what happens when the carburetor is gone, how do you check the water level in the car, how do you even know that the carburetor has got some kachara or trash in it, that is why the car is not working. Basically the internal functionings of a car. And his logic was, any bugger can drive a car. The problem is a good driver knows why a car is behaving a certain way. And to become a good driver, you have to understand the car first and not just master the gears and the levers and the control panel. That is exactly how I like to equate it to programming. You gotta program on your own. You gotta understand the fundamentals of programming so that tomorrow, even if you use AI, first, you need to understand AI code. Second, more importantly, you need to debug AI code. And third, you need to scale and make sure that the AI code is secure. With complete 100% dependency on AI, that is never going to happen. If that happens, then what is the difference between you and ChatGPT or a Cursor, my friend? So here's my take on programming. absolutely 100% important, and start with the fundamental concepts of programming if you are in the engineering area, or even with 1 or 2 year experience. If you've not had the chance to do that, start with basic OOPS concept, object oriented programming, the likes of classes, inheritance, polymorphism, those basics. Then go to memory management, threads, processes, CPU, learn about APIs, how databases work, learn the basics of HTTP, the OSI stack, then learn about Git, GitHub, not just, what is Git clone, what is Git commit, get a little deeper into it and learn how to write good code. That is very, very important, and learn one good programming language which is compilable. Maybe start with a Golang or a Java or a .NET, one of these. Scripted languages like the Pythons, the Perls of the world, great to know, but a compiled programming language is very, very essential because it builds a solid understanding. Alright, so let's get a little deeper into some of the technologies that you will need to learn. Right, let's start with the basic layer. Let's say we've spoken about learning Git fundamentals. Now comes we've spoken about a programming language. Next layer is the API layer. Let's say introduction to a REST API, let's say a GraphQL, things like that. So what do you need to understand? Basically, what's an API? Learn to use Postman, basic features of Postman, what is the structure of a JSON file, what are the typical headers, request header, the status responses, those kind of things, and build and expose a simple API using, let's say, a Node.js or a Flask. That should take care of the API layer. Then the next one is obviously the database layer. So learn a SQL database, which could basic operations like a join and indexes, sequences, then learn a NoSQL database, and then understand what is data modeling, normalization, basic database experimentation. And then we go to the front end or the back end frameworks. You can pick one. Front end could be React, back end could be an Express, a Flask, or a Django, whatever floats your boat. Now this is a vertical stack of application that I've taken you. Now the foundation layer is Linux and scripting. Very, very important, because most of the enterprise systems today still run on Linux. So learn at least 1 or 2 flavors of Linux, Unix, whatever you call it, but learn the OS, set up Linux on your machine, learn how the installation works, learn about the operating system. I would even go as far as to say dual boot your laptop and make Linux your primary operating system for at least a couple of months. That's a very, very good way to understand Linux and how it works. And then of course, coming to shell or a scripting language, learn about bash, learn about the basic bash commands, pick up one scripting language and learn that very well, become a very good master at it. Then the next layer is a cloud layer, right? So pick up an AWS, Azure, GCP, anyone, doesn't matter. Create a couple of machines on free tier, understand the basics of how cloud works and how cloud operations are done, not just through the GUI, but also through the command line. What do I mean? For example, if you're working on AWS, set up AWS CLI, command line interface on your machine. Learn how to spin up a basic EC2 machine through the CLI, then go into serverless, set up some lambdas through CLI, learn that as well. Then it goes into CI/CD, learn some basics, maybe pick up a Jenkins or a GitLab, go through that, create a separate application, build it, deploy it, learn a little bit about containers, little bit about serverless. There are a lot of things to learn, and I've created dedicated videos on how do you learn cloud, how do you learn DevOps. I will pin it in the comments here. Alright, so if this video is making sense to you by now, consider subscribing to the video. In fact, pause it for a moment and check if you have subscribed the channel. If you haven't, do so immediately. If you want me to make a dedicated video outlining how to start from scratch and go topic by topic and become from a zero to a hero kind of thing, write in the comment zero to hero, and I will create a dedicated video which will take you through all of these steps. I'm not going to teach you, but I'm going to give you an algorithm of what all you need to learn. So now that the technology part is done, let's talk about networking. What the heck does networking mean and how do you actually do it? I'll explain this because not a lot of people understand the meaning of network. The networking does not just mean that, hey, you approach somebody in the tech community that you like, that you resonate with, and say, hello sir, my name is Savinder Puri, I'm very interested in the way your videos work, let us stay in touch. You send a LinkedIn request, I accept your LinkedIn request. This is not a network. This you've just created a random ass connection with no liabilities on each side. A network is created when after you create this, you dedicatedly follow my content, you comment on that meaningfully, engage in some conversations. If I'm doing a YouTube live, you show up on the YouTube live, you ask some relevant questions, and over a period of 2, 3, 4, 6 months, you come in front of me so much that I know you by name. Then and only then you have created a network with one person. So creating a network takes time, it takes effort, and it takes dedication. But the rewards of creating a network are multifold. Let me know if you want me to create a dedicated video on networking. In fact, I've already done that. You can go check it out. I'll pin it in the comments as well. Now, let me give you an example. So there was this girl who participated in a hackathon organized by a group of people, right? She, in fact, volunteered for that, right? So she was part of the volunteering group, unpaid activity for sure. But during those 2-3 days, she was very active, interacted with a lot of people and made some good friends. A couple of weeks later, that same group was organizing another event and she volunteered and said, hey, can I become one of the volunteers as well? Did that over a couple of months, established a good relationship with the organizer, and eventually when she was looking for an internship, she reached out to everybody. She said, hey, from my college, I'm looking for an internship. Can somebody refer me? One of the event guys, he referred her to a company. She got a paid internship. She did that internship for 6 months, eventually got hired by the same company. The advantages of networking done rigorously over a period of time with a focused set of people, that is what it is all about. The next one, learn in public. Now, if you've seen my content, you know I'm a big proponent of learn in public. But in this particular topic, I want to talk about one thing which a lot of people always tell me. They say, hey, I am just a fresher. I am in my first, second year of college. I am no expert in any field. What the heck can I write about? Now understand, this is not teach in public. This is not display knowledge in public. This is called learn in public. What does it mean? It means you're going to learn Terraform. You speak about that. You talk about that, you share your notes, share your mistakes about how do you learn in public, share your failures, and that is what this is all about. Share your entire journey. I've created dedicated videos on how to learn in public. You can go check it out. Another very important thing that a lot of people come and tell me is how do I develop the power of focus? What happens is I start reading something and then a notification pops up on the phone, on the browser. I get distracted. I start going towards it. And before I know, I've lost 30 minutes or 45 minutes. How do you do that? One very effective method is called the Pomodoro method. What is it? You can install any Pomodoro free timer. Essentially, it's a 25-minute timer which will run on your desktop, and they come in various shapes and forms. Some even can block all your applications, but the simplest one is a timer for 25 minutes. For 25 minutes, you will not do anything, just focus on one task. When that is done, the timer rings, you stop, and then you do something else for 5 minutes. Start Pomodoro again. That's a very, very effective technique. Try it out if you haven't. The second thing which I've also spoken about in some of my other videos is schedule your distraction. If you like to watch reels of whatever kind, slot out 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour, half an hour in the evening to watch those reels. And at that time, watch it unapologetically. Have fun, but only for that period of time. Once you're done, come back to your routine. That also allows you not to miss all the fun while concentrating on it. Also disable all notifications on your phone, because the moment you get notified, you get distracted, you pick it up and then you flow away. Another thing which I've done is I have completely converted my phone into grayscale. All the icons of this are grayed out so they don't attract you as much as they would. Some of the tricks, try them out, let me know what works for you. So now the final part. How do you actually think about your college life? Now I do a YouTube live every second Saturday, which is 9:30 p.m. IST. And almost every live session, I get this question at least a couple of times. Sir, I'm just about to join college, or I'm in the first year, second year of college. What do I need to do to be able to get a job when I pass out? Look, I understand the question. I have gone through that. But let me put out something as well. My most common response to that question is, if you are in college, in the first year, in the second year, do you have a girlfriend yet? If not, what the heck are you doing in college? I'll explain why I say that. Because you are obviously serious about your future, about your studies, about your marks, about your GPA. That is why you're watching this content. That is why you've joined the live. That is why you're asking that question. Which means you will figure out the answer to this question one way or the other, through my content, through some other way. I'm here to tell you something else which probably not a whole lot of people will tell you. College life is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And the only way to say this is in Hindi, which is कुछ बकचोदियां कॉलेज के टाइम पे कर लेनी चाहिए. Because you cannot do them when you are 25, 30, 35, when you have a kid and a wife. You can't do those things. So it is important to have fun in college, to create great friendships in college, because those friendships of college will last you a lifetime. Even today, my college gang, we are all across the world working in some of the biggest, best companies in the world. Yet, when I get a call from one of those buddies, I make sure it is not on speaker, because I know the first word coming out of there गाली है. वो पता है मुझे और वो उसे भी पता है. So that bond, very important to create in college. Study, focus, all of that is great, but have the fun that you're supposed to have in college. I'll see you in the next one.